Oh, okay. All right, so he's got one, great. Do you next?
Hey, Michael, I was wondering, because of the fame that you've gotten and a lot of the stigma that's been put on you either way, as you continue to make films, because of those almost restrictions that you have, because I'm assuming here, but the effectiveness of your message, which is helped by being entertaining and everything else, have you thought about reshaping the way that you tell the story, or to one, maybe take the onus off of you and focus more on your topic now that you have become so famous, and also just how do you approach the appealing to the attitudes of people who are not going to agree with you, not Roger Smith, but the public, and just how are you dealing with those things now? And I'll tack on one small question: do you participate in documentaries ever?
First of all, you're saying
As an interviewer.
Yeah. So what you're saying is that there should be less of me in my movies.
No.
I agree with that.
I'm just wondering, that's not what I'm saying. But just that you are an element of all of that. Do you think that, I mean, it's all a question. I'm not.
I mean, how could I make my films a little more appealing to those on the other side of the political fence?
Well, no, do you think about it? It's not a slam against your movies. I'm just wondering because these things...
Well, yeah, of course, I always want to, but I've seen people change over these 20 years since Roger Me, and I've seen my audience build. It hasn't gotten smaller.
Right.
And so that means more and more people who are especially in the middle section of political thought have come over, and I think that's the reason why I'm a poster boy on Fox News and Rush Limbaugh and all that is because my films reach a wide, mainstream, middle American audience, in addition to the left. Whereas they don't go after Noam Chomsky, and they don't go after, people that they don't think are a threat, because Noam and other good people like him do the work that they need to do for those of us who are part of the left and appreciate their guidance and their ideas and whatever. But as long as he or someone like him doesn't appeal to that, and I think that's why they've been afraid of me for some time, and why they had to. I mean, I know this is a fact because I've been told this by people that worked in the Bush administration of how they went bonkers when Fahrenheit came out, and they thought that they might, throw the election to Kerry. So they had a whole disinformation campaign against it. So but that's okay. I mean, that's the great fight in a democracy, and what has at the end of this 22 years of making movies, what is the America I live in? Barack Obama is elected president of the United States. That's the America I live in now, and so things do get better, not as fast as I'd like them to be. He's not as fast as I'd like him to be, but I am an optimist, so I think that I don't know how else to answer your question other than I'm happy with all my movies.
It's very rare for somebody to become that famous, starting as a subject of their movie and then become.
Yeah, but
I
I'm
just wondered if it affected the process.
No. Okay. Well, it only affects it only because fewer and fewer people will talk to me on the other side.
Right.
So I have to send in my producers to do the interviews, and then I sit out in the van with an earpiece and kind of.
Okay, that was more of where I was going, just to where if it got in the way of you being able to do your job.
Just that they won't talk, that they're afraid to talk to me, and I wish they wouldn't be afraid to talk to me because I'm a really nice person. I'm nonviolent, and I'm an Eagle Scout. Fairly conservative. I mean, what I mean by that is I believe in conservation, and I believe you shouldn't spend money you don't have, and
Cool.
I think.
Thank you. It wasn't a political question.
That's all right.
Okay, we've got somebody over here.
All right.
And why don't you give that person back the mic that we took it from?
This
so he
question-
doesn't get upset.
This question could be for both of you. I made Orwell rose in his grave. I wonder, do you guys ever feel like you're under surveillance with the privacy issues these days? And
We know we're
given the
under
fact that both you
surveillance.
guys are
I've gotten
You
my,
had stuff.
I've
Could you go
gotten
on
my
about it?
file twice under the Freedom of Information Act, starting way back. Of course, we're under surveillance.
To what degree? You get it today. How
Well,
do you
I
feel
know my
about it?
phone was tapped. I don't know where else, but now everybody has. I mean, if they're not surveilling you, is that a word? Everybody else has cameras, so on their phones, so you know they don't have to worry too much. But there's surveillance everywhere, and there's definitely. Actually, I was denied security clearance recently to go to the White House, and I don't know why. I'm trying to find out why. Do you know why?
How about you, Mike?
You're the only one that's been in the shadow and completely unrecognizable.
You can't see them.
We can't see you. Come into the light.
How do you create that effect? How do you create that effect
I
live?
made that documentary, Orwell Rolls in His Grave, and I kind of made me privy to things that I wouldn't want to, I should never say.
All right, you go ahead now. What about you?
I never
Tell
think.
the truth.
I never think about it. I don't want to think about it because it would unwind me.
There's no point in thinking.
Yeah,
about it.
I assume everything that I'm saying on the telephone or writing in an email is probably at some point being looked at, and as it should be. And, if I were them, but I don't. I've never asked for my freedom of information. I've never asked for
It's
my.
all blacked out anyway. We just
I just feel the copying charges for me, mine would be so expensive. I just would not bother with
That's
it.
true.
But no, I'll make a prediction about something. I think that this phone hacking thing that Murdoch's company's been involved in Great Britain, I think it's now going to be investigated, and it's going to be discovered that it might have possibly been going on here too, with certain people's phone lines or voicemail or whatever. So I'll be curious to see if that will happen, but I kind of just have a gut feeling. In the same way, I don't know. I just have gut feelings about things. The Coney 12 guy, I didn't put his thing up on my website. Everybody's telling me to put it up on the website, and just my sniffer said, I don't know, just something's not right about this. And so I don't. And I think that I'll be interested to see what happens with Fox News and this phone hacking operation. I can't believe they would just be doing it in Britain, because really, who cares about hacking anybody's phone over there?
All right, we have somebody over here.
Yes. I was wondering if you thought it was advisable in this day and age, if you have a short documentary, if it was a better idea to just put it online and risk disqualification from festivals or anything like that, or to kind of go the festival circuit. And I also, about what you were saying about respecting the art form with short documentary, do you think shorts are a different art form, or is it just a more abbreviated version of the larger piece?
I think it's an important art form. I'm a big fan of shorts, and I think you should try to do the festival circuit and get it in as many festivals as possible so people can see them. And then you should submit it to the Oscars and hope that you can get a nomination, because that will then guarantee that your film will be shown with the other nominees in 100 theaters around the country, and then maybe we'll end up on HBO or someplace like that. So I think that that's a very valid and good thing to do.
Over here.
Hello, I'm from England. I don't think my phone's been hacked so far, but it may well be after leaving here.
Yeah.
Can I maybe go back to some of the ethical issues and judgments that you have to make as a director about what you might leave on the cutting room floor, even though it may well be compelling and authentic, but many of the people of interest to you are vulnerable people, and there may well be longer lasting adverse effects to them beyond the world moving on.
Well, let's see. I try not to leave any laughs on the cutting room floor. Humor is hard to come by. Good humor is hard to come by these days. When's the last time you saw a really good comedy for adults? I mean, it's maybe once or twice a year we get a good comedy, but it's rare, right? I'd like to see more comedies, and so
Go to see mine that's out right now. It's good.
Oh, which
Jeff lives at home.